Hello everyone, welcome. Thank you for coming along tonight and listening to our guest speaker of the month. I'm really excited to have Kylie on. She is my sister-in-law and hello. And Kylie, I was really, when I'm thinking about guest speakers, she's just someone who popped into my head that I think is inspiring, and she's achieved a lot, and she just seems like such a go-getter and, achieving all of her goals and dreams. And I thought she was just perfect to come on and talk about this month, which we've been focusing all on our goals. So Kylie has, like I said, achieved so many things. She's a CEO, she's a wife, she's a mother, she's very into her health and fitness, she's studying nutrition, she's doing it all. And yeah, I think she can give us some amazing tips on balancing all of the things. That hustle and the flow and achieving your goals in the mix of that. So thank you for joining us. And how are you?
Yeah, thanks, Kirrily. I'm really good, thank you. And thank you for having me along into your group and to be a part of your membership this month. It's really exciting to be here. I'm really admiring everything that you are doing in this space with your business and your life, and I'm a big fan. So I'm really excited that you've invited me along. And yeah, I have done one or two things in my life. As you mentioned, I'm a mum of two adult children. I am a corporate executive of a big multinational. I couldn't have done that without my amazing husband. So I've built my career pretty much over the last 20 years whilst raising children and having to balance with all of those things. So I can truly appreciate for, mums who are trying to be everything to everyone. I have been there and tried that. So yeah, hopefully can share some wisdom about balance in that regard. I'm a never-ending learner. I can't stop with being amazed by the amount of knowledge that exists in the world. And as you mentioned, I'm currently studying nutrition, really just because it's a passion. I think there's so much, obviously, our health is the most important thing. And as I'm getting older in life, it's becoming more and more apparent to me that I've perhaps taken that a little bit for granted in my earlier years. So I have spent a lot of time, particularly over the last decade or so, working with women in particular in their career development and, giving people advice on how to make changes or how to move forward in their life. And that has obviously, work is one part of our existence. And so what I tend to find when I'm working with people is that it becomes about all-encompassing, about their whole life, about their relationships, about their personal passions or their personal demons, if you like, as well as that element of wanting to have a purpose and what you're doing. We all have to earn money, but you might be doing something that's really not serving you or really making you feel good about yourself. So I've come to talk with a lot of people in that regard, and that's sort of where I've ended up today, working with a variety of people across all age groups, but predominantly women.
Awesome. And I just on that, like, how did you first get started on your goals, or like what was your first goal that you started with?
Well, I think that's Yeah, that's a really, really good question. But I think perhaps what I would like to differentiate here in our discussion tonight is about, we've called this talking about big goals. So what is it that we're talking about when we're talking about big goals? I'm talking about those life-changing, really scary targets that we have. And usually when we think about those things, immediately that inner critic, we all have that little person inside our head that is, saying to us, what makes you think that you can do that? You've tried that before and failed. You're not as good as so-and-so. What makes you think that you can emulate what she does? So I think in this space here tonight, what I would like is that with our inner critic, and one thing I've learned about our inner critic is show her some love. So our inner critic is that perhaps that young girl who was criticized, who was put down. We've all had those experiences, and she's the one that, comes up at different times in your life when you suffer, when you feel embarrassment or criticism, and she's like, I told you so, I told you so. The key to not managing your inner critic, but I think one of the keys is to show her love. When she is saying to you, you can't do this, what makes you think you can write a novel? What makes you think that you can quit smoking? What makes you think that you can run a 6-figure business? Who are you? Say to her, look, I understand from where you're coming. I love you, but for this moment in this space, let's give ourselves some time to dream big. And so our big goals are those 12 months, 5-year things. I'm not talking about something for next week. It's got to be that really big, lofty target. You have no idea how you're going to get there, but you know that there's something in you, there's something burning, there's something that maybe it comes up from time to time in your life. There's something reminding you, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. This is what, I think we need to give ourselves permission to dream about for this period here tonight.
Yeah.
And what I see as the biggest mistakes when we start thinking about these things. So we all know what a SMART goal is? We've all heard of this acronym. So just to ensure we're all on the same page, the specific, the measurable, the achievable, the realistic, and the time bound. Now, if I was to say to you, I want to write a novel in 12 months. That's a SMART goal. I want to, if you have a large amount of weight to lose, perhaps, I want to lose 20 kilos in 12 months. That's a SMART goal. I want to quit drinking alcohol permanently in 12 months. That's a SMART goal. But the problem with that is it's just outcome focused. We're not focusing on the process. And that's one of the key obstacles or key problems with goal setting. We focus too much on that end piece. We need to fall in love with the process. We need to understand that process. And two very key factors of that is visualization and getting really specific. So it's not just enough to say, I want to write a novel in 12 months. What's the process? What is that person who has done that? How do they behave? How do they feel? all of these sorts of things we need to delve deeper into. Who will I become? It's not just enough to say, I want to lose 20 kilos in 12 months. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I heard that recently about focusing on the results. If you focus on the changes that you need to make, the results will come.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, I was talking with a young girl the other day, and I've known her for a couple of years, and she recently got married. And so I had been, seeing her from time to time, and she was all about this wedding, and it was all so exciting, and the honeymoon and the buying the house and all of that. And then now their marriage is in jeopardy because she was so focused on just getting married, not on that whole relationship piece or that whole lifestyle piece. It's the whole process. It's not just one thing. And that's where big goals get scary, because we get lost in all of that. We get disappointed when we have obstacles. We get disappointed when we get put down. Yeah.
Oh, there's my dogs. Well, what do you think some of the other big mistakes are that people make when they set goals or when they expect certain results?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things there is those two things about visualization and being really specific. So let's take an example. Let's look at someone who has let's call it just largely a health goal. They want to be healthier. That really needs to get down to the detail of, when I wake up in the morning, from the minute I open my eyes, what am I feeling? What's going through my head? What thoughts am I having? Where am I? Who am I with? What's the first thing that I do when I wake up, when I'm this person, whatever that is? There needs to be much more work done around that. How will I behave? How will I feel? Bit of every single moment of every single day. And you have to factor in that there will be challenges and there will be obstacles, that not every day will be perfect. So they're the biggest mistakes. People don't focus enough on the process. Visualizing, really give yourself the gift of time to sit down, call it daydreaming. Journaling is a beautiful thing as well, where you detail all of those aspects of, if you achieved this, this is what my day would look like. And in actual fact, that's my favorite journaling activity, is my ultimate day. Mm-hmm. If you had the ultimate day, what would it be? And I'm not talking about, I don't know, going skydiving or something. But yeah, if you were living your best life, what would that day look like? Mm-hmm. I find it just a really humbling question.
Yeah. Do you think people struggle with that? Like, how can we break that down a little bit more?
Yeah, because it forces you to think about, what is it that I really want in life? And
people don't think about that very often.
No, we get focused on, I don't know, I want to save money for a deposit for a house is another one. So that's a SMART goal. I want to save a deposit for a house. But what does that actually look like in a day? It certainly, if you want to save money for a house, it certainly doesn't mean you're sitting at a coffee shop with your friends all weekend. So really taking your goal and breaking it down into what becomes your ultimate day. And it forces you to think about, I guess, purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And is that, I think when people start writing about what is their ultimate day, they start thinking about, gee, what is it that I really want? Do I really want to achieve X?
Mm-hmm. And when I get this house, what does my life look like? How is my life different? How is my life better?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We can get, and that's why I say, big goals are those big, scary, impossible things, because sometimes we haven't even given ourselves the gift of thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. Would you mind sharing maybe one of your big goals and then some of your proud moments in your life and things you've achieved?
Yeah. So pretty much for the last 2 decades, I've been a career woman. That's been my focus, where I've gotten my drive and my energy from. So in order to do that, I've had to do a lot of things. And one of those would be, for example, doing an MBA. This was the most challenging 15 months of my life, where I was working full-time and basically also full-time study. And in the midst of all of that, you get caught up in this hamster wheel thing that you're just running on almost stress, on adrenaline. So you just keep going, keep going, keep going. And yes, I've achieved that. But then at the end of the day, you ask yourself, so now what? And it wasn't until, in the last couple of years where I started really thinking more about what is my ultimate day, what does that look like, that you started thinking about different areas of your life and different ways to approach, or different ways of embracing whatever passion may come through for you. I don't know if this is making any sense to anyone.
It is. And I was just thinking too, when you say about what's my ultimate day look like, if you don't even know what your goals are, you could start with what's my dream day look like, and then work backwards and, well, how am I going to get that?
Yeah.
And that becomes your goal and the dream.
Yeah. And I think that's a really, really good point, Kirrily, is most often people are a little bit lost. They're, at the end of the day, we're all figuring it out. We're all having our unique experiences. We're all, on this roller coaster of life, as they call it. But the way to find your path is, yes, I think, to start daydreaming and to start and giving yourself that gift of exploring, what comes up for you. Yeah.
Like permission.
That's, yeah, absolutely. Hey.
Permission to dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it can be from different things that have happened in your life, maybe why you don't dream, because somebody once said to you that, oh, you'll never have that, or something's happened and you were like, oh, well, I'll never have that, so there's no point even dreaming about it.
Yeah. And I mean, we all suffer criticism and shame or embarrassment at different times. And yeah, it's easy then to say, oh, well, I'm not going to explore that or give that a go because that hurt last time. So I'm not going to go there. But I think we need to forgive ourselves for those things and to continue to dream, and through that we find our direction.
Yeah, and embrace fear.
Embrace fear. That's a good one. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Because sometimes, like, the pain doesn't actually last that long. You think the pain is really bad, but then you do it and you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad, or yeah, that was a bit awkward or a bit embarrassing for a few minutes, but you know what, we laughed it off, and it's a good story. And
that's right.
The pain doesn't last long. Or I heard recently that, you know, like diving into the ocean is, you're like, as an adult you're scared to do it because you're like, oh, it's going to be cold, and like but as a kid you just dive in, you know, you're not scared of that cold, you're just in, you want to get in there. And as an adult you're like thinking about the fear that it's going to be cold. But if you just dive in, you know, the pain doesn't last long, the cold doesn't last long.
That's right. And I think what's key to what you're saying there is emotions are not always a choice. They just come up, but it's our behaviors that are a choice. So quite often, you know, these feelings, we can't help but feel them because of whatever, our history, but how we choose to behave despite them, that is our choice, I think is the key.
Did you have any like big or small limiting beliefs that you can think of that you had to overcome?
Me? Heaps. Heaps. Goodness me, I work in a completely male-dominated industry. I sit in meetings almost on a daily basis where I'm the only female and have had to navigate my way with sexual harassment, discrimination, you know, the chicks should make the coffee, take the minutes, all that type of stuff, you know. And it's very easy to fall into that, oh yeah, that's where I belong. Like that is a woman's role. Like the women should take care for the lunch order. It's like, no, like, so absolutely limiting beliefs that I've had to challenge and work through. Yeah. Yeah. Daily basis. Yeah. But I think if we, you know, talking about limiting beliefs or obstacles, something that I've found really useful is rehearsing. So we all, you know, a pathway to a goal is never plain sailing. So we need to, again, visualize in great detail these hurdles that are going to come up. They will happen. You know, if you're got a, I don't know, a particular, like yourself, you have this business goal, but in the midst of all of that, you move across the country. You know, you have to cope with those things that come up. Young women with children, and they, you know, they have their personal goals, and the kids get sick. You have to rehearse and practice. How are you going to overcome that? If you have a weight loss or health goal, what are you going to do when you're going out for dinner with friends? How are you going to act? You have to rehearse how you are going to overcome those. You've got to have a coping plan, coping strategy.
Yeah.
All of these things. And that's for me, you know, in my career, I've had to, you've got to develop coping strategies. One of them is to beat my husband's ear with all my whinging and explanations of everything. And he's very good at nodding, going, yes, dear. But yeah, you've got to find your coping strategies, because it won't be plain sailing to whatever that dream is.
Yeah, I was thinking too when you said that, like, I guess for me, rehearsing, I would always feel like I should already, like had this, I don't know if it's a limiting belief or something, but I always felt like I should already know it. I shouldn't have to rehearse it. And then I would be like, I would think, is it okay to take notes and to, you know, want to be prepared and all this stuff without thinking I should just know what I'm going to say and it'll just come naturally. So rehearsing, when I heard that, that made me think of, it's okay to plan, it's okay to learn and grow and figure it out, rather than just being like, yeah, or not trying at all.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Cool. So sorry,
have any of the other participants had experiences where they've had obstacles? And
yeah, does anyone want to share? Please come off mute and share.
No, they're too shy.
I will start. I was finding my button. Wait. I guess one of my goals, I guess I'm starting at the moment, is with my blog, and it's a very scary thing because it's very like I'm putting myself out there, and my main limiting belief at the moment is that other people are judging me and that will be negative. So I really like what you're talking about with like rehearsing, like mainly self-talk and like how I'm gonna feel if, like, you know, someone does react negatively. Like I don't need to take that on. So I guess rehearsing that, because at the moment I'm like, don't judge me. So yes.
That's an awesome goal. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's always going to be that negative Nancy, you know, or I'm in the same thing too. Like you put yourself out there, but like my advice would be just keep going. Like the people who will vibe with you and everyone else will fall away.
Yeah.
And you'll find your tribe, and
Oh, thank you.
And also the you know, those questions that we say to ourselves, if you couldn't fail, then what would you do? And if you do get some negative criticism or whatever, and then what? Yeah, okay, someone doesn't resonate with what you have to say, and then what?
What's the worst that could happen?
And then, you know, and I think if you keep asking yourself, and then what? Oh, someone doesn't like me, and then what? Oh, I guess I'll get over it. You know?
Yeah, what's the worst that could happen?
And then what? I'll find some other friends, or So I think that's But I think it's also completely normal to feel vulnerable when you're, I think, being authentic and raw. Inevitably, you are going to feel vulnerable, but I think that's also where magic happens, because you are being true to yourself and, you know, to your purpose.
Thanks for sharing, Dana.
Thank you for the advice.
Good job. Anyone else want to share one of their goals, or maybe some of their challenges that they've come across recently, some hurdles?
I think with me, so I'm from Wollongong, born and bred, never lived anywhere else. And then my husband and I moved up to Mackay just this February for his work. So I was out of work, and I kind of thought, well, if we can afford to, I just won't work. But then, you know, you can only kind of sit and twiddle your thumbs for so long before you start to get restless. But I guess for me, I was worried about not finding work because I'm older, and there's a lot of kind of competition, and so then I started to apply for jobs, and you know, you get knocked back, and you know, your self-confidence goes down the tube, and but I'm a believer in things happen for a reason, and I think me getting the job with Kylie and VAE like was meant to be. And it kind of, like, I applied for other jobs and I thought they were perfect, and then for whatever reason I didn't get them, and then this one just popped up, and it was an absolute perfect fit.
Yeah.
So I think feeling vulnerable, and you know, like as you get older, I was kind of worried about, you know, how long can I stay in the workforce before, you know, I start losing my memory, or I can't you know, function as efficiently and effectively as I did when I was younger. And all those things kind of play on my mind. And then I think, yeah, when I got this job, everything just kind of clicked in, and I feel good that I can kind of share my knowledge and help people, and my brain's still working pretty good, which I'm happy about.
That's so cool.
And isn't it wonderful how sometimes in life there's just these signs and signals that are somehow gently positioning you or pointing to you. And I think it's not until you stop and pause and take some time to really look inwards that you are able to see these things. And that was me for a long time with my career, and this was my target. That's what I did. And I think I missed a whole bunch of signs and signals that were happening around me. And then, you know, generally the signs or signals perhaps get bigger and start slapping you around and say, no, you're heading over in this direction. And I think that's really beautiful that we can be vulnerable to that, because that's what it takes to see those signs or signals of where we should be heading. Takes vulnerability, absolutely.
And you know, if Barb had can you guys hear me?
Yep.
You know, if Barb had have let those things, like the thoughts of I'm too old, you know, there's too much competition, if she had have let those things totally consume her, perhaps she wouldn't have got the job either. So it's about flipping that, and like you said, you know, before, about visualizing your dream day, you also have to visualize your dream self and talk that into existence, and believe it as well. And then, like you said, Kylie, listening to your body, like, and looking for the signals, is trusting your intuition, I guess, and knowing that everything will work out how it's supposed to. And if you look for those things, that it'll all come to fruition.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we were just talking about this just before the call with yourself. You know, the move across the country was a huge leap of faith. But, you know, now that you're there and this has fallen into place, and that and this, and now this is happening, and it's like, wow, this is really cool.
And I'll share one of my big goals as well, because it's kind of ties into this of knowing that it will happen when the time is right. So I've been trying to have a baby for almost 1.5 years, and it's not happening. And I think, you know, like just in the last few weeks, I've kind of flipped it a little bit and been like, you know what, I think I'm supposed to do something else right now. Like something else. I'm supposed to be building my business. I'm supposed to be doing this first.
Yeah.
And instead of being like, oh, I'm never going to have a baby. I'm not worthy. I'm not healthy enough. Oh, I'll just have another glass of wine. You know, if I can look at it in a way that, okay, well, obviously I'm destined for something else right now, and that will come, and I know that it will happen when the time is right. Yeah.
And I think, yeah, relaxing about those things that we hold really dearly can sometimes be the best thing. And just, yeah, let it be. It will happen and develop whatever is meant to be in the time that it's meant.
Yeah. And that's where I think like the visualization, you can hit some challenges with that as well, because you're like, well, I've been visualizing it for this long and it's still not happening.
Yep.
And then you get annoyed with that and you're like, well, I might as well just give up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's don't give up, and keep looking for the signals of what your path is, and just dig a little deeper, I guess, and what you really want in life.
Yeah.
So you wanted to do a visualization activity. Do you want to do that now?
Yeah, if everybody is up for that. I thought in this safe space we could do just a short, meditative type thing. So I guess I assume, we all have our big goals, and, we don't have to discuss them or, explain to anyone else what they are. They can just be ours. So we're going to do a short, meditative thing to focus on this big goal. I would like you to pick one. So if everybody's comfortable in their seat, and I'm going to try and play some nice music, but please just jump off mute if it is completely annoying, if it doesn't work. Can you hear that? Yeah? Okay. So we're sitting comfortably. Everyone take a big deep breath and relax. Right at this moment, we're going to give ourselves this time. This time is for me. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Allow yourself to relax. I'm going to speak to you for the next little while, and all you need to do is listen. Listen and imagine. Simply relax and imagine. I'd like you to think about a goal that you want to accomplish in the next year of your life. This might be a relationship goal, an educational goal, a personal goal, or a work-related goal. Take a moment to bring this goal forward and visualize it in your mind's eye. Now, with this personal goal in mind, I would like you to imagine yourself going forward in time into the future. Going forward 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and 4 weeks. It's now 1 month into the future, and you've started working towards achieving your goal, and you're on the road to success. What decisions have you made? What actions have you taken? And how does it feel to be on this road to success? Now, using your imagination, continue again forward in time until you are 6 months into the future. You are significantly closer to achieving your goal. You're starting to feel all of the benefits of your efforts. How does it feel to be this much closer to your goal? Allow yourself to notice any feelings or emotions tied to this moment. Now continue going forward in time again until you reach 1 year from now. Here you have fully accomplished your goal. You have achieved success. Visualize yourself in your mind. Where are you and what are you doing? Who are you with? What are people saying to you and what are you saying to them? And how does reaching your goal feel? What emotions are tied to this achievement? Perhaps there are feelings of pride, joy, contentment, or satisfaction. Now, I would like you to look back on your journey. Look back on the process of achieving this goal. Look back on all of your hard work and effort and consider how you reached your goal step by step. What were the little things you did day to day to achieve success? What did you do at work? What did you do in your relationships? And what did you do internally to achieve success? How did you manage difficult thoughts and emotional obstacles? What coping strategies did you use? Take a moment to consider all the things that helped you manage the personal challenges that appeared along the way. And as the exercise comes to an end, take a deep, slow breath. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes.
Thank you.
How was that?
That was so good. I was thinking at my 1 month, I was excited, and 6 months, I was, starting to feel really like believing in myself, like I can do this. And at 12 months, I'm just surrounded by all these beautiful women, and we're having a big party. And
Awesome, awesome.
that was so good. Anyone else want to share?
I had a similar, I just felt more confident along the way. Like that was my, like, how would I feel at this time was like, I'm going to feel confident and like, I can do this. And like my daily activities will be a bit more productive because I already know like what I can achieve. So it's easier. Yeah. I really liked that. That was cool.
So I just thought about my goal of changing my lifestyle to be more healthy. And so I guess it involves Kylie pushing me to get off my backside and move. But yeah, and just kind of visualizing what that, like the steps to get there, and being happy with the way I'm changing and getting out of my bad habits.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how are you how is being more healthier gonna change your life?
Well, hopefully it'll help me to live a bit longer.
And why do you want to live longer?
Because life's there to be enjoyed.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Good job. All right. Does anyone have any questions or anything for Kylie? Yeah. Anyone got any questions? So
How do you cope with when things don't, along the way, they don't kind of work out the way you wanted or expected?
Yeah. Setbacks and obstacles are always going to happen. And I think the biggest thing that I found work for me is not letting, one setback define the outcome of everything. It's really putting it in its place that was just one thing, that was just one setback, that was just one horrible event, or whatever, depending obviously on the goal. But I think we tend to think of things so much all or nothing, instead of taking things in incremental and small steps, because our brains are wired to want satisfaction all of the time, and we want to be comfortable all of the time. So anytime that there's an uncomfortable feeling or a negative experience, we're like, we need to run away from it. We need we may as well just forget everything. So we need to really come to terms with those setbacks and things are going to happen. Those negative things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And we can't change them. They are just emotions. What we do have control of is our behavior. And that's the mind shift, I think. We get really caught up in our emotions, and that's completely natural to get swept away in those things. And it's really difficult, I think, to, when you take a feeling of being criticized or feeling embarrassed, to sit with that is really uncomfortable. We want to run away from it. We need to take a deep breath and try and make some peace with that it's just an emotion. It's like thinking of emotions like, those white clouds in the sky. They will drift past. It will pass. All of whatever that feeling is, it will pass.
Yeah.
We will never feel all of the good positive emotions all of the time. We will always have, and we need to, because we need to experience negative things to even know what a positive one is. And we need to ride that roller coaster.
Yeah, and find the lesson in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. That's a good question. Thanks, Barb.
Okay.
So Kylie has also put together a little workbook for everyone who has participated tonight. So covering, what we've gone through tonight, and you get to actually put pen to paper and that's it. And write down these things, and it breaks it down a little bit more. We spoke earlier about the journaling, which is a big part of the workbook.
Yeah, this is essentially, I guess, journaling prompts to get us in that zone, I guess, to explore, what your ultimate day is, what your dream life is. And to do that, you really need to put yourself in a safe space where you can, really let your mind and your feelings come out onto paper. And it's really important, personally, I believe, to write pen and paper. There's just something with that I find works for me. Other people can do it on a typing. That's each to their own. But there's really something in that writing things down, and I think it helps us get clarity of thought. And you might find I get a bit of a laugh sometimes when I flick back through my journal, and you see the repeating themes or common themes, and it's not until I see it written there and it's like, Kylie, come on. It's written right there. This is what you should be doing.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a power in writing and writing something down. Like you said, it makes it real. It makes it and then when you break it down and you can see the achievable steps, you're like, oh yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. That's it. It helps get clarity.
Do you have any other journaling prompts that you love to use?
As I said before, my favorite is this ultimate day. And I actually find it like it's an indulgence. Indulgent, is that the correct word? Indulgence. Because I feel it's really like spoiling myself, that I give myself permission to dream and explore my ultimate day. And I do it maybe a few times a year. And it's also interesting to see how sometimes it changes over the year. At the beginning of the year, you think, oh, my ultimate day looks like this. And then maybe 6 months later, maybe it's a little bit different. And I think that's important, to give ourselves that compass of ensuring that we're on the right direction. But I find it just so invigorating and exciting because it's written there and I can see that it's possible.
Yeah, I love that. I do something similar. Each morning I start with today I feel, and it's all of the feelings that I want, that I want to feel in my dream life. So and even a story around that, all the things I do on that day, and
so this is projecting your day going forward. Yeah, beautiful. I love that.
And it's kind of imagining that in 1 year from now, this is what my day will be because I've been working on this goal, and this is the end goal. I really like that one. Or you can do it 1 year from now, what does 1 year from now look like for all the different areas of your life, not just your goal.
And the other one, if I couldn't fail, what would I do? It's also a similar type thing.
That is a good one.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Renee.
So I'm feeling pretty lost at the moment. So do any of you ladies have any suggestions, just with the journaling and trying to discover pretty much my daydream, I guess you could call it. I'm just really I've got a massive block and I don't know how to kind of overcome it, or nothing's coming to me when I'm trying to journal. So even after meditation, nothing's happening.
Having a mental block.
Yeah, just for a couple of days now, and it's kind of like doing my head in. I'm like, oh, why isn't it coming to me? How do I not know what my daydream looks like? Like, how do I not know what my goals look like? How do I not know all this type of thing? I don't know if I'm trying to force it too much or whatever.
Yeah, maybe when we have, you know, a lot of things going on in life, and, you know, we all have those days where, geez, just getting out of bed is like major accomplishment, and you know, coping with our daily routines can be more than enough. So I wouldn't be too concerned that, you know, you're feeling this way, and I think maybe you are trying to push it a little too much, and maybe you need to give yourself a little break and not, you know, have that pressure, and until you're in that, I guess, calm space where you know, you're feeling like, you know, you're willing to embrace what the future may look like, that you can start exploring exactly what is contained in there. The other thing I would also think about would be getting back to your root values. What are those things that are really core to you, core to your being? What drives you?
Okay, yeah.
You know, really getting back to those really basic values.
I love that, like the core values, because that's a big thing. If you don't know what your core values are, and they ultimately define what your goal is.
Yeah. So on my just trying to think where it is on my website, or I can send Kirrily the link and she can give you the link. So I have this values workbook there, and I really love I've got these words, the values words at the back that you can, I know it's printing paper, yeah, whatever. You print them out and cut them out into little words. I haven't got one here. And what I find, I don't know, say there's 40 words, and I put them into split them into, yes, that applies to me, no, it doesn't. And so then you might end up with, say, about 15 values that apply to you, and you try and prioritize them and break them down, that you end up with your top 5. And then once you have those particular values, you then try and delve into, where is that coming from? You know, and it might be something with your childhood, or an experience that you've had as a young adult that, you know, this is really important for me, and that might help delve into finding that underlying purpose, because ultimately that's what our dream life is finding our purpose, our
Yeah.
what are we here for? You know, what are we doing?
What's the point of life?
Yeah, what am I doing here?
Sounds like how I felt today.
Yeah. And I think we all have days like that. That's completely normal. And perhaps, Renee, it's just, you've got some other stuff going on. Give yourself permission to just cope with that at the moment. And, you know, maybe in another few days, get yourself to a quiet spot and have a go again.
Yeah,
I think that's a good idea.
That I would add there is you're not always going to have the answers. They don't always come to you when you ask the question, especially if it's a new question. Like a few months ago, someone asked me what my hobbies were, and I couldn't tell them. I had no idea. I was just like, I don't know what my hobbies are. I was like, oh, I guess I like watching TV. Like I didn't know what my hobbies were. Yeah.
You are so not alone. And I know Miss Dana can also comment to this, because we have also had this conversation.
But it took me a few days and I kept thinking about it. I'm like, how could I not know what my hobbies are? And then all of a sudden it dawned on me. I'm like, oh, that's right. I used to love doing that and I don't do it anymore. Yeah. So it'll come to you. And I think just like Kylie said, just it's okay. It's just take a break from it, and it'll kind of be in the back of your mind, and you'll be doing stuff during your day, and it will come to you, and you'll be like, oh.
And a hum moment.
Yes. A big what we call it, a big brain fart.
Brain fart, yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks, ladies.
All right, that's a good question. Thank you.
Can you relate to that, Dana? The hobbies question?
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
I don't think I still know, but it's okay. I'm like accepted it now. No. I did think of something when Renee was talking then about like being stuck on writing, because that happens a lot, especially when you think of yourself as a good writer and then one day you can't think of anything and it's like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? But something that I've done a few times is like thought train journaling, where you literally just write like exactly what your brain is thinking in that moment, which might, like, sometimes I've started with like what I had for dinner tonight, and you just keep writing and writing whatever you can think of, and then like you'll get 3/4 down the page and suddenly be writing about something very philosophical, but you just keep going, and that kind of like can get you rolling. I don't know if anyone else has like tried that before. It's good to just start somewhere. Like you just have to write something and something will come.
Yeah, totally. I call that a brain dump.
Brain dump. That's a better word.
I'm just like, all this stuff. And then I'm like, oh, I feel better now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. Awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe that's a good thing to do before you go to bed, because I know that when I go to bed, most times my brain just will not switch off, and you lay there and you try and concentrate on your breathing, but then you keep thinking about things that happened at work and everything just rattles around. Maybe that's what I should do, is write it all down and then go to bed, and then there'll be nothing in there and I can go to sleep.
Yes, Barb.
It's worth a good try, I reckon.
Yeah, I definitely recommend brain dump at night after your day, but in the morning too. Like if you wake up and you're like, oh, scrambling, I got to do this, I got to do that, and like you kind of need to figure out some kind of plan, you can brain dump then as well, and then look at it and go, okay, well, what's the most important thing? What do I need to do first? What do I need to do second? Because sometimes when you think you have all this stuff that you need to do, you can't figure out which one is the most important until you write it down.
Absolutely.
That's a great idea, Barb. Definitely do that. Any other questions, thoughts, anything? Actually, Kylie, I wanted to ask you if you had anything. What's something exciting that you're working on at the moment, or what's something exciting coming up for you?
Well, 2020, I think for most of us, has been fairly ordinary. And for me personally, it's been, there's been, quite a bit of loss and illness, and what that has done for me is made me, reflect on this. I don't want this to sound morbid at all, but when you start thinking about your legacy, what imprint you want to leave behind on this world, whether that's with people or on the planet and that sort of thing. So I've already started focusing or thinking about what my goals are for 2021, and they are essentially based around health and my personal health. I have studied a lot about health, and I will soon be a qualified nutritionist. But I was doing that and continue to do that really just for my own learning and benefit, and I'm really enjoying it. And again, it comes back to that passion. I'm just doing it because I like it. If something else comes of it, that's great. If not, I've learned some stuff, and I will improve my own health on the way. So that's a big thing for me. And the other thing is, and again, coming back to this legacy and imprint that we leave behind, is about connections. I want to have more and deeper connections with people. I have, as I mentioned earlier, for the last couple of decades been fully focused on my career and exceptionally successful, and that's all been exciting. I've had this amazing life of travel and doing extraordinary things, fantastic. But now I'm finding my next focus is about, deep and personal connections with people. How I'm going to do that, or what the process is, I don't know. But that's my big goals.
Awesome.
How about you?
Connect with that too. You said there, like, health and connection. Those would be two of my core values. My other one is honesty. And yeah, I just definitely same thing. Like, my health is so important. You know, without that, you have nothing. You can't work on your goals if you aren't healthy, and you can't get out of bed in the morning. And connection is what fills me up, like doing this, and chatting with people, and then those deep conversations, and then honesty is my other core value. And I think when you can figure out your core values, you can figure out what your path is and what your life looks like.
Yeah.
Cool. Lastly, can we just go around the Zoom room and can everybody share their biggest lesson from tonight, or their biggest takeaway or aha moment? Barb, do you want to start?
Sure. I think it's tonight, as listening to Kylie and yourself talk, it's made me think more about learning to focus on what I really want, and how I go about getting that. And I like the idea of journaling and writing stuff down, because I guess then you can look back on it to get hints and ideas, and also to see how you've grown. So yeah, I like that.
That's awesome.
Renee or Dana, you're on. Whoever wants to go.
I really loved the whole, I can't remember the exact words, about how it's just an emotion with the behavior. I think that that just really clicked for me tonight. Like, just kind of accept that it's an emotion, move on from it, and just find out the best kind of behavior to work through it. I think, does that make any sense? I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the emotions are not a choice. They will happen.
Yeah.
It's your behaviors that's what we have control over, and that's what we should focus on. The emotions we won't change. They will come and they will go.
Yeah, actually,
I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today with someone who said they were feeling guilty. And, we all feel guilt, all the different things, and you feel guilty about doing that and whatever. I don't think you're ever going to get rid of the guilt. Like, you can't just turn it off or whatever. But, remembering what your ultimate goal is, and having the self-respect there to know that why you've made that decision and you're comfortable with that, then the guilt yes, it's there, but it's for like you've done the right thing by yourself.
Yeah.
Cool. Dana, your turn.
I think the biggest thing for me is like I want to dedicate more time to like writing down my goals and thinking really hard about the specifics. I liked how in the little meditative exercise we were thinking about how will I feel on this day in 1 month, and then you go 6 months, and then like breaking it down like that really helped me think, like, because 1 month feels very much more achievable than 12 months sounds really scary. So if I can break it down into like I just got to do 1 month, like that's it, and then I can do the next one, that really, yeah, I'm excited to look into that.
Awesome, good job. When you said that, I thought of something I also heard recently. I'm having all these aha moments. That what were you saying? The like it's like you're in a dark room with a torch and you can only see 1 or 2 steps in front of you.
Yeah.
And you just take those steps and you know, like you have this big goal and you're not sure of all of the steps to get there, but you know that you'll get there if you just take this step and then the next step and then the next step. And yeah, it's kind of like walking in the dark.
Yeah, one at a time. Can only do one at a time. Yeah.
Awesome.
And that's the next, stage after the big goals, because we have to start with the big goals because that's defining our overall life direction. But then you're absolutely right, Dana. We then have to bring it back, and even less than a month. What can I do right now? What can I do tomorrow? Those sorts of things. And as long as it's like there's a funny story with my husband. He one day decided he was going to do a triathlon, and so he goes. He's a terrible swimmer, but he goes into, it was an ocean swim to start with, and he of course is coming last, but he just puts his head down and he's just swimming and swimming. And then someone comes along and is tapping him on the head, and he puts his head up and he's like completely going in the wrong direction from where he was meant to be. So I think that's a little bit like what tonight is about. Tonight is we're putting our heads up out of the ocean. We're taking a look around. Yep, we're heading there. Then you put your head down and you start going. And in a couple of months, you might stop, put your head up. Yep, I'm still heading in the right direction, or I might make a small change, and then you put your head back down and you do the hard work and all those small steps. And then, yeah, eventually my husband made it back to the shore.
He didn't swim to China.
Oh, that's such a good story. I love that analogy. Yeah, that's so cool. Well, thanks so much for everybody for sharing and opening up. And I'm sure even just being here, putting yourself first, and you should really be proud of that. And I'm so happy that you came along. And thank you so much, Kylie, for being here as well and sharing your wisdom and all of your the overcoming the challenges and the visualization. I think is just it's really cool to learn about that. But yeah, where can everybody find you also? Where can someone connect with you? Where's the best?
Yeah, sure. I have a website, kyliehuth.com. Also on Facebook and Instagram under Reset, Restart, Thrive. And yeah, thank you, Kirrily, again for inviting me into your beautiful community. It's I feel really humbled and privileged. Thank you so much. It's been a joy tonight to share and be with a bunch of amazing women. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so happy that, yeah, you invited some ladies along as well. Looks like a few of my members, weren't able to make it, but they can always watch the recording, and they can connect with you and let you know what they thought as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Make sure that if you want to share any of your takeaways on Instagram or something like that on your stories, just tag Kylie and tag me, so we can share and inspire more women as well.
Awesome.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good night.
See ya.
See you.